Hi and welcome to another episode of the Career Stories podcast. My name is Joe.
And I'm Carrie.
We are Careers Advisors for Skills Development Scotland, and today's episode we're quite excited about because we get to interview a Paralympian. Robyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm very excited to be fair. This is good because we have a really good mix of careers from police officers and zoologists, but yet to have a Paralympian.
Exactly.
So this is going to be good. Definitely.
What we quite like to do is we're going to get a chance to kind of really delve into your career, how you got to where you're at and everything like that. But we quite like to start with a slightly easier question. So what I would quite like to know is, what is a non-work hobby that you have at the moment that you're currently kind of is your obsession?
Well, to be fair, when you're an athlete and a parent and you don't have much time, to be honest, to have many hobbies. So actually the other day, I do coaching, so I'm really passionate about coaching, but outside of sport, I actually started doing a bit of trading on Trading 212.
Ooh.
There are other apps available. But yeah, started doing a bit of that. Sponsor me. No. But yeah, I started doing a bit of trading. Just wanted to get into it. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
Not loads of money. I mean, like you said, I'm a Paralympian, so we're not minted, we're not footballers. But a few pennies in there just to dip my toe in and see what it's like, really.
Interesting. Something that you do hear about people speaking about it, and I'm just I feel like it's just right over my head. So I might need to. I'll get your sponsor link after.
Yeah. I know you mentioned about the Paralympian thing and the money aspect, but it is. I think maybe only a few years ago I was shocked at the challenges that Olympians face as the best of the best and potentially that sport, and yet there's some hurdles that have to overcome, and it's quite difficult to commit to because a lot of people might have other jobs and stuff, maybe depending on what they're doing. So yeah,
exactly. We're not, well, a lot of people are professional athletes, but a lot of the time we're not, and because we train all the time, trying to say, can I do this job, and can I have these weeks off and this weekend and this camp, and I can't do this and I can't do that away day. So yeah, it's pretty challenging for any athlete to find a quote unquote normal job.
Yes. You've got the Commonwealth Games coming up and you're going to be playing on home soil after playing in all these different places. Is there more pressure? Are you more excited? How are you feeling about it?
Oh, do you know, I think to be able to compete at home, literally half an hour from where I'm from, how crazy is that? And I just think Scotland, no matter what, they'll support you. And that's what I think is, they're not here to glory hunt. The fans get behind you because you're Scottish and they believe in you, and whether you win, whether you lose, they'll be there for you to absolutely make noise and celebrate our success as Scotland. So I'm just so excited to be part of that energy, and I know that Scotland are excited to be part of it too.
And I don't know obviously what it looks like in terms of who you'll compete against at the tables, how it works, but is there opportunities you could compete against your friends at some point here?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there is opportunity, teammates that I'm going to be then a few months later competing at a World Championships with. That's down to the sports psychologist to try and sort that mess out.
That'd be so cool. Obviously rooting for Scotland there for
yes,
sure.
100%.
We kind of always like to go from grassroots, really, from school. As school careers advisors for us, I think, we have challenges of helping people understand, what a certain pathway may look like. And obviously these conversations are about that, speaking to people who have done it and been there, but everybody's career journey is slightly different to where they've now in something like you're doing at the moment. So what was your pathway like from school to get to this point?
Gosh, a bit bizarre to be fair. I mean, I don't think anyone can just go into a career advisor and say they want to be a Paralympian, because there's quite strict criteria on that one. So sorry about that, guys. But for me, growing up, I didn't actually know about Paralympic sport until I was in my 20s. So growing up in school, that wasn't really an option for me either. I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a PE teacher. I was obsessed with sport. I loved high school. I don't know if kids these days.
Some do.
Yeah, they love school.
Occasionally.
Yeah, I love school. I went to Kyle Academy, big up. Absolutely loved it, and I spent most of my time in the PE department. I was just obsessed, and that's what I wanted to be, PE teacher.
Wow.
So when you were coming to the end of school, did you apply to go to do teaching or?
Yeah, I did. So applied to Stirling and all that. I had interviews. But around that time, I also decided that I wanted to get leg lengthening surgery.
Okay.
Which was quite a big op. So I took a gap year. And in that process... Gap year, yeah. You know, I listened, a doctor that I spoke to at the time just was like, oh, you won't be able to be a PE teacher because... You know, you can't do demonstrations. Obviously, you know, I can walk and everything like that. I can't run very fast at all. But, you know, I was pretty good at PE, right? Very good. Got A's and B's and all the practicals and etc. My teachers believed in me. Miss Wilson, Mr. Phillips believed in me. But I listened to this one person that said, oh, you can't do that. And from there, after my gap year of getting my leg lengthened and playing on Mario Kart I'm very good at Mario Kart. Playing on Mario Kart back then, what was that, 2008. That summer I went to Magaluf Tea in the Park and then got my leg lengthened. And I decided instead of sport exercise science, I was going to do biomedical science. I wanted to go and work in labs and do all that fun stuff because, you know, the body, you know, the human body sort of interested me a lot. So I also loved CSI on telly, talking about influences, telly. I loved CSI, so I thought, yeah, you know, I'm pretty good at biology, pretty good at chemistry. That's what I went into. So that's kind of what I decided, and that's what I went to uni and did, biomedical science.
Do you not think I think it is such a thing that you could have 100 people tell you something positive and believe in you, and one person says to you, no, you can't do that. And it is the one that sticks. I wanted to be a midwife. My guidance teacher, he said I couldn't be a midwife. He was like, no, you can't do that. And I was absolutely, I don't know why. I was doing all the right stuff. I actually, looking back as a careers advisor now, I could have done it, but I believed him. And I didn't speak to anyone else about it. I went, well, I can't do it. I'll just not do it. And it does stick with you, the negative ones. So I think it shows how important it is that if someone believes in you, it's so important to share it with people. Like, you can do this, even if the negative ones are easier to
definitely
on.
You know, I think role models are so important, and I think people in power, you know, a teacher, a careers advisor, they've got so much power. You know, that they've got these kids looking at them for advice, for help, and the power of their words is just so important. But like you say, often, like in sport, my teammates will say, oh, God, wasn't that great when this player did this? And I was like, oh, did you tell them? No, I didn't tell them.
No.
Oh, well, maybe you should go and tell them. And it's like, it's so easy to be negative, isn't it? But it's so hard to be positive and actually bam each other up.
Yeah, and I think that's what's needed is we do need to do a bit more of that, just bigging each other up and saying, like, what you did there was really good. You'll fight, I don't know if it's, I always see it online and it's talking about, like, you know, you've got all these strangers who you'll post something from the gym, you'll post something from doing something that you're proud of, and you'll have these strangers being like, amazing, well done, and then the people who know you, silence sort of thing. So it can be really, like, I think it's something that we should be aware of, is like the power of like liking something and bigging something up. It's so important.
But how do we go? So you mentioned you obviously really loved sport, right? Yeah. So what kind of sports were you into when you were younger? How did that come about? Because you mentioned obvious influence. Were people in your family into sport? Like,
yeah, so my big sister did gymnastics. I was thinking about that on my way up from my drive from Manchester. My big sister did gymnastics. I think that definitely did influence me a wee bit, seeing how cool that was. You know, she got a lot of attention for it, but just that she was passionate about something. And for me, I played tennis. So in primary school, Jan Collins, this guy, came into my primary school, Forehill Primary, big up. Came to my primary school and delivered tennis when I was 8 years old. And from there, I attended after school down at the Citadel in Ayr. And I just loved it because I loved sport. I loved, you know, I'd be the kid in my room doing keep-uppies with a tennis ball, playing Kirby, kicking the, you know, back in the day when we played outside. Yes. Kirby's a really good game. You should try.
Is that great game?
You know, that was me. I was just obsessed with anything that was ball, racket, just loved it. And that's what I really kind of started doing was tennis when I was younger.
So then you go, obviously you mentioned that the PE teaching idea maybe falls away. You go and obviously do your degree. And then obviously you're here because now you're doing wheelchair basketball at quite a high level. So explain to me that post kind of learning, what happened.
Journey. Yeah, so at uni, I played running basketball at uni. Loved it, obsessed. I'd always wanted to play basketball, but in air it wasn't really a sport that was around at the time, or at least for girls it wasn't a sport that was around. But again, I was always in my garden with a basketball, doing the skills, and as soon as I went to Napier, I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I just felt like I found my people more than, again, for me, sport is more than just the putting a ball in a hole. It's the community, it's the togetherness, and that's what I really loved about it. And actually, it was 2012 was the first time I'd ever saw wheelchair basketball before, and it was one of my teammates. We lived together in Edinburgh, and she was watching it on the telly, and she was like, "Oh, could you play this?" And I was like, "What is it?" Wheelchair basketball. I'd never, how old was I? I've been 22. I'd never heard of disability sport, I'd never seen disability sport, and I was just like, "Oh well, it's wheelchair basketball, so you probably have to use a wheelchair all the time, so it's probably not for me." And it wasn't again until one of my teammates was at the bus stop down from my house in Gorgie in Edinburgh, and she's really tall, and I was like, "Where are you going?" She was like, I'm going to play wheelchair basketball." "What are you talking about? You're not disabled. You're also not using a wheelchair." "Ah, but anybody can play wheelchair basketball." "What do you mean anybody can?" So that went on like this. And I was like, "Oh, right, maybe I could try that then." So I contacted Basketball Scotland. Tina Gordon was the development officer at the time for the wheelchair side, the para side, and straight away she snapped me up. I meet with her. She's like, "Right, so what's going to happen is we're going to train every day, and you're going to go down to GB, and you're going to be selected for the Paralympics. You'll be the first Scottish person selected for the Paralympics wheelchair basketball since Sydney 2000. And I was like, "Oh my God." What?
I'm just inquiring. It's like one of those inquiries online, and then you've signed a contract. I was just checking.
I know, who's this lady? But to be fair to her, 4 months after sitting in a chair for the first time, I went down to Worcester and trained with the GB squad. I know, crazy.
That is crazy though.
Yeah, I know, crazy, just from seeing it on the telly to, I think it was 2 years later, going and trying it and competing alongside the women that I'd saw on telly. How crazy is that?
That is incredible.
Yeah, for me it's mental, but I think it was the obsession I had with PE when I was in those formative years that gave me all the hand-eye coordination, you know, the competitiveness. And I grew up with a disability. You know, I had to try harder than everybody else in PE. I was the one with a red face at lunchtime. My mates would laugh at me. I'm getting called man hands, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, they are big, great." And now it's like, great. In our sport, it's, "Oh, how big are your hat?" "Oh, great." Like, you know, all those things that when you're a teenager are like, "Oh, how embarrassing." It's like, actually, when you're older and you're an athlete, it's like, "Oh, that's the asset. That's the thing that makes you stand out. That's the thing that makes you who you are." You know, how old was I when I went for the first time? I was 24, I think. 23, 24 when I went to GB for the first time. 15-year-old girls making me look silly. I'm not going to say the sweary word. Making me look like an absolute fool. And honestly, I'd get back up and I'd go again and I'd go again and I'd go again, because that fear of failure for me just didn't exist, because, you know, I was the disabled lassie in school, and when you're young and you're different, you know, there's nothing more embarrassing than that. So,
and I think having that, I think that's something that a lot of people really struggle with, is the getting back up when things don't go to plan, and the continuing while things are hard. And actually, you can't, like, it's no matter what you do, it can kind of continue to be hard, because you're getting better, but then you're then putting more pressure on yourself to be better, so that you're constantly moving up and getting better. But
did you also feel like, just curious, because you mentioned obviously the criteria for Paralympics, you mentioned about like not necessarily needing a wheelchair or being in a wheelchair. Did you feel like you had a point to prove a wee bit, like when you were doing it initially, because you were like, people might question me here, like, do I need to be good? Or how did you get fit? Was it a good community?
No, it's a good community. I think it was more learning for me, you know, growing up in air. I didn't know any people with a disability except the extreme, you know, people who are using electric chairs all the time, or, you know, really on that far end of the disability spectrum. Whereas wheelchair basketball, we've got amputees, people with CP, spinal cord injuries, all range. People who walk, people who don't walk, people who walk sometimes. Like, I'll use a day chair when we travel and all that kind of stuff, just to help me out, help my legs out. So to be honest, it was more eye-opening for me for that spectrum of disability, whereas I think I grew up very much, and maybe it's generational, but oh, just get on with it, and actually, why do you need to just get on with it? Like, why do you need to pretend that, you know, you're able-bodied? Why do you, and that's how, when I was growing up, that's probably what fed that, you know, relentlessness was, I need to prove that I'm just as good as you. And it did help me, I think, build that resilience and build that character that I have. But then it's about understanding that actually that difference is now my strength, and it's something to be proud of and celebrate. And all parasport is different. So wheelchair basketball, you have to have a lower limb impairment. For judo, you have some arm amputees. For goalball, you have to have a visual impairment. So I wouldn't be able to play that. So, you know, the Paralympics are exclusively inclusive in that kind of way.
So you drove up from Manchester today, so that kind of brings me to, we've done a little bit of social media research, not stalking. But, you know, there's a bit of a controversial post, because obviously we're here in Scotland and you're Scottish, and I hear are you going to the English team?
Do you know what? See the amount, it was April Fool's, and people, like, you know, honestly, ChatGPT just did such a great graphic. I think that's what it is, because folk were like, yeah, but the graphic was so good. And I was just like, it was just ChatGPT, mate. Like, what can I say? It wasn't me.
The joys of AI.
I was sold in it. I think I didn't. That whole day, I fell for things that I never normally fall for until like the third one. I went, oh, it's that day today. But then I think obviously when I checked your Instagram, but it was like days after, so I didn't check the day. So I was like, that's a weird one. That's so unusual to go the other. Like, that's strange. And then,
listen, you're not the only one. My own mother. I'm telling you now, the woman that birthed me believed it. I was like, Shona, are you having a laugh? So I was actually at a Scotland camp, and, you know, trying to make the young ones laugh, and I'm like, wait till you see this.
I mean, well, it definitely worked. I was full for sure.
Yeah,
but,
the amount of folk that did believe it is. I mean, my granny is English. I have lived in England for 10 years, so I could qualify, but you know, my heart.
The heart is there. So let's talk a wee bit then about, you mentioned obviously going down to GB, and obviously, you know, it's been years since that first experience, and you've had success and you've played at a high level. So talk about, you know, that transition from, you know, the training part where it becomes probably, you go from just an idea to them being a big part of your life. Like, how was that transition into the kind of full-time training, and then obviously then moving into a home ground and competitiveness? What was it like?
Oh, it was crazy. You know, I was literally just at uni, being a normal uni student, doing normal things, eating what I wanted, doing what I wanted, when I wanted. Yeah, I hadn't even done a full season of the National League for the wheelchair game, and I was already in GB training full time, because I moved to England May 2015. So I moved there and started training full time, Monday to Friday, 3 times a week. And honestly, it was a complete shock for me. I injured my wrist straight away, because obviously going from zero to hero, absolute idiot. So, but that, luckily it subsided. But I was lucky that I had great teammates trying to, you know, they saw something in me. I had my coaches believing in me. So, you know, I really felt like I'd found my people, I'd found my place. As soon as I sat in that basketball chair, I knew it was for me. I love sport. I spent 5 days a week in the PE department in my school, and all of a sudden I got to do it as a job. How cool is that?
It's very cool.
It's very cool.
It must have felt really nice to have that feeling of like, you've got this doctor who said to you, you can't be a PE teacher. And you're like, cool, I'm going to go to I'm going to be a Paralympian then.
Hold my drink.
Hold that. Watch me.
Professional athlete, because it is, I mean, like, you know, we definitely aren't ones to dampen on professional athlete ambitions. It's very common, particularly the early years of school. Everybody goes, I want to be a footballer or this or that. And then they get to kind of like 5th and 6th year, and you know, British reality, it seems to be a culture here of like, don't take risks, you know, make sure you've got stability. And for you, although, you know, you went down a stable route like uni, you went back to this unknown world of professional sport. So, you know, like, what kind of challenges have you faced during this time, I guess, you being an athlete, you know, because obviously it's your full time at it, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, full time, the challenges are, like you say, it is risky in terms of finance. So when I first started, I wasn't guaranteed any funding when I moved to England. So I was very fortunate that Scottish Disability Sport really helped me out, to be honest.
Right.
I got lots of grant funding in order to go down there and make that possible. I'd saved a lot of money, so I did work as well. And basically it was do or die. So I moved in May, selection was June, and they said if you get selected then you'll get put on your APA, which is your Athlete Performance Award, which all Olympic and Paralympic athletes who are on a certain level, they get put on this funding. Now I say that at that time it was 12.5 grand. That's how much it was for a year. So that's how much I got paid. So luckily I got selected.
Yep.
So for that year, you're talking about home crowds. Well, my first ever European Championships was in Worcester, where I lived. Trained with the team, so all my family were able to come down. About 10 of them in my flat in Worcester while I was staying at the Premier Inn. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. But that whole first year, on the run up to the Rio 2016 Paralympics, I was on £12,500. No other job, because you're training.
Yeah,
I trained at 7 in the morning to help the girls who were at uni. So we trained at 7, and then we'd have a break, and then we'd either go to the gym and then train again, or we would go to the gym and then train again. So it would just be something different, meetings, this, that, the next thing. So trying to get a job was near impossible. So I was on housing benefit. You know, it wasn't easy. That especially that first year wasn't easy. But we all worked really hard, and in Rio we came 4th, which is the highest the women's team has ever positioned, and that meant that we got bumped right up to even better funding. So you only get the good funding once you're doing good. You don't get the good funding. You don't get the good funding to get there.
You have to earn it, basically.
Yeah, you have to earn it. So luckily, and since then we've been relatively successful. And I say the good funding, it's fluctuated from 20 to 28,000 a year. So within that, obviously, I've tried to have to carve different jobs for myself. You know, speaking engagements and working for the Youth Sport Trust, delivering in schools. So doing bits and bobs just to try and make extra pennies. I just get to enjoy my life and enjoy my job, made good decisions, and just enjoyed it.
And then you've got so much going on, because obviously you're a Paralympian, you're an ambassador, an activist, you've recently become a mum. Like, how are you juggling all of this?
Oh, to be honest, it's the team that do it. So when I say that, it's my partner Laurie. So she did the birthing, she did the cat. So I mean, she smashed that. Yeah, she's produced an absolute gorgeous wee girl. So it's very much she plays in the team as well. So she was actually playing when I saw wheelchair basketball for the first time. She went to London 2012 and competed with GB. That was her first Paralympics. So that's usually, when I say this in front of a crowd, that's when we go,
oh yes.
So we're talking, we do talks together, and that was an moment. So you know, very lucky. She's very organised, and she also pushes me as well. So she helped, like, you know, I get to do all these amazing jobs, and she helps with applications and all this, that. So, you know, they always say there's always someone behind, and she's definitely the person that pushes me to be the best version of me. And we've just got a great community of people to help with Alba. That's my daughter, Alba.
Good name.
Yeah, good name, that, Alba. So, you know, because Laurie came back to GB literally like 3 months after having her.
Wow. She's a hero.
Oh, she's like, listen, people are like, should we get Robyn on a podcast? I'm like, get Laurie on a podcast. Like, she's amazing.
Wow.
She's an amazing human, and she's awesome. So, you know, she came back 2-3 months after having Alba, and Alba came with us to everything, to camps, to tournaments, and in that process, obviously, a lot of the girls, their parents would help us out, and now she's just got all these surrogate grandparents and aunties, and it's just fantastic, really.
Yeah, that great village, community. Like that's quite that. It's not like, I don't know if old fashioned's the right word, but that it takes a village, and having that community to support makes all the difference, doesn't it?
For us, definitely. You know, especially this summer, we're away quite a lot. I've got the Commonwealth Games. We've got our World Championships in Canada, so it's like, you know, Alba will come to some GB camps with us, but throughout that time, we've got Laurie's mum and my parents, my sisters. Although my sister just phoned me this morning, I've twisted my ankle really bad doing climbing. I'm like, getting up to your mitt to come down and watch Alba. So honestly, it takes a village, and we've got a pretty good one.
It's amazing. By the way, Jones, funny, my wife's pregnant, due in 4 weeks, and I think if I had suggested go back after 3 months, she'd lose her mind. Like, I would be allowed back in the house. but and I say that, but because I think all professional athletes, particularly females who give birth, there is a pressure potentially at times to maybe go back. Not even pressure, but just their own work ethic's been there for so long. It's like, I can't be a year out. Like, I need to try and get back and get fit and get into it. So
definitely.
People maybe don't appreciate that. It's a total different challenge.
Yeah, I guess for her as well, so as soon as we found out she was pregnant, I mean, obviously it wasn't an accident because it was 2 women, so, you know, there was organisation involved there. So for her, as soon as we found out she wasn't allowed, and we told the programme, she wasn't allowed to do any in-chair kind of basketball because it is a contact sport. But she was in the gym swimming and all that jazz. So for her, that was like 9 months of nothing apart from just being. I mean, it was she learned sign language. You know, she did stuff, but walked the dog a lot. But for her, she was just like ready to come back, ready to go. Because the amount of athletes as well, because Hannah Cockcroft, who's a wheelchair racer, like very decorated, multi-medals, we gave them some hints and tips on some of the accessible baby products that we had for Alba, so they came round to ours and we gave them some bits and bobs, and I'm like, so you're gonna think you'll just not do it anymore? No. Are you joking me? I can't wait to get back in my chair. I can't wait to get started, because they're obsessed. They're obsessed.
And you kind of have to be at that level. If you weren't obsessed, you wouldn't have the drive to be as good as you are, would you?
Definitely.
Also, like, wheelchair basketball, you could have picked something maybe slightly easier. I feel like there's a lot of mechanics with that in respect of like you're not just got a ball. Like, the fitness element to that seems quite tough.
Yeah, so it's, you're not... for me, it's definitely one of the toughest para sports out there in terms of trying to get medals as well on that world stage, because, it's not just you, it's 12 people or even beyond that in terms of a larger squad. It's 20 people who are trying to fight for a spot to try and get that level higher and higher. You're relying on the school system helping these young disabled women develop the hand-eye coordination, which... a lot of the time they can't do because they're not able to do PE because the schools haven't provided that provision. For me, luckily, I could do PE, and that's why I managed to get from 0 to hero so quickly, is because I already had those skills in comparison to quite a lot of the girls who are in the system, because they weren't able to do PE. I had to learn the chair, which is so hard. But luckily I had Laurie shouting at me, basically. She basically shouting at me, telling me what to do, how to do it, push harder, do this. American coaches who were obsessed with chair skills. Imagine Ted Lasso on steroids, basically. So for me, wheelchair basketball is tough. You've got to be skilled, you've got to have that cardiovascular, you've got to technically, tactically, you've also got to manage your teammates, those kind of relationships. I mean, I'm 35, some of them are 20. You've got to connect, build those relationships, that trust. So a lot goes into it. And I'm sure as individual athlete, I did wheelchair tennis for a wee bit as well, which has its own challenges as well. But trying to get all those women, on the same bus is, not just on a practical level because we're wheelchair users, etc., but on a mental level, getting everyone fighting for the same cause. Definitely challenges in there, but we have had a lot of success, and I tell you what, wheelchair basketball is the best sport for anybody. Have you tried it?
No.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
I mean,
see, I do really want to.
It's so fun. Everyone who tries it is, this is amazing. This is amazing. Wow.
I'm so uncoordinated though. Like, I feel like I'm literally like, I can fall over just walk.
No, it's the fitness. I said before, like, I played basketball for the school team for 20 minutes and I was blown out my backside, and that was like 4 months ago. So I couldn't imagine trying to get to the level of fitness that's needed for that. Even for one game. Like the upper arm strength, and then also I need to know how to shoot a basketball and pass it. There's a lot of skill. I guess you're doing it all sitting down as well, so it's not really. So you probably wouldn't be going fast enough to need cardiovascular in the first instance. So I think you'd be all right. Then weaker arms. Then let's play that. Then
it levels the playing field though, because I do lots of corporate team building days. So I do lots of stuff like that. And honestly, you've usually got the big guys who are like, I'm competitive, and they're there, and they're terrible. They're terrible. And then you've got the wee woman or the wee guy, and they're zipping along the court rapid, and it's like, how do they do that? Some people, honestly, the wheelchair, it just levels the playing field completely, and egos just are left at the door. That's why folk love doing it for a team building day, because it's so humbling, but it just brings your team together, and it's honestly so fun.
See, I'm at the point where like I've worked really hard in the gym for the last year to be the same strength as like a 15-year-old boy on his first day at the gym. So like I try my hardest, but like you see them coming in, and I'm like with my like twos, like.
Don't compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, no, I think that's right though. Like the thought of like, I think like you say, that leveling the playing field, and just even the teamwork involved and stuff. I think it would be like.
It sounds awesome, to be honest.
Like, it is awesome. To bring
especially the idea of corporate. I mean, I never even thought of that. That's such a cool, like, because obviously with corporate they do a lot of team planning days and building days and stuff like that. And who would have thought wheelchair basketball?
I know.
Oh, it's
if
fun.
we weren't a public sector.
Do you want to know a fun story? A fun story.
Yes.
So you're careers advisors, right? You teach people how to do job interviews.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So England football men's team, I've been involved in their recruitment process, right? So they got a company in to do the job at like the recruitment day for their coaches, like England men's assistant coach, like high up. Yeah. So during Gareth Southgate's time, and they think they're going into coach football, but they're not. They're going into coach wheelchair basketball. So they come in I'm at St George's Park, and we're told like, right, just come in at this time, do this so they don't see you, right? So then they come into the indoor football area that they've got there, and all of a sudden they've got 10 wheelchair basketball players that they've got to coach. And the challenge is, do they then think, oh well, I did basketball in school, so I'm going to get you to do this, or do they go to the players and say, oh, what do you want to work on, what are you thinking, what's your skill set, and then they've got to then come up with something there and then on the spot. So that's a fun story.
That's amazing. And do you know what's funny? Like, that's a real cool insight, because I suppose people just assume, you know, when it comes to like an interview for a managerial position or a coaching position, that, you know, a lot of your credentials is what gets you in the door, but actually there's still like that
recruitment, and then that's putting them outside, because you think about, we've got like lots of young people who are going to college and they're doing college interviews, and if it's for something like a sports or uni, if it's some sort of sports course, quite often they will have to do some form of coaching input to show that they are planning an activity, and they don't always know what the activity is going to be until they get there. I think that's such a good point. I'd love to be a fly in the wall for some of them. Just could imagine. That'd be so cool. So then, obviously, very soon the Commonwealth Games is coming, and I know, was your debut 3v3 Birmingham? Is that right? Commonwealth. How long ago was that?
So when was that? That would have been 2022.
Amazing. So how are you feeling? Because you're ambassador, obviously, for this year, and so what does that include? What kind of things are you having to do leading up to the games?
All fun stuff. So I get to meet the people behind the scenes a lot more, which I love. So as people working really hard to make this games happen. Today I'm doing celebrating the volunteers. I also get to do filming. We're doing a bit of filming ahead of the games, you know, social stuff that'll go out. We did the starting of the countdown clock at Glasgow Central Station, which was just awesome. I got to wear a really expensive watch for all of 2 minutes. I was like, don't keep it.
Please.
You don't need this back.
You're sponsoring the event and me. But it was the actual guy's watch who was from the company. So so I got to do that. So, you know, really cool stuff that for me growing up, never thought possible. The Birmingham was very much the first time 3xe wheelchair basketball was anywhere.
Wow, okay.
So it was a new sport, a new setup. So for us as athletes, we really had to wrap our heads around it. It's been around for a few years, so hopefully it's going to starting to get more embedded into these Commonwealth Games, and I actually think it's going to really help grow the sport, especially the women's side, for some nations where they can't get 12 players.
Yeah.
So,
and is 3v3 half court, full court? How's it?
so it's 3x3. That's
Right,
that's the
3x3,
brand.
sorry.
Yeah,
Apologies.
no, it's the FIBA brand.
We'll
Yeah,
cut it.
yeah.
Cut my mistake out.
Good learning moment.
Thank you.
Yeah. So 3x3, so it's 4 players.
Right.
4 players, a half court, 12 second shot clock.
Right, okay.
14 second shot clock. God, I feel like I should know that. But we've run it, 12 second shot clock. You have to get, it's like street ball.
Yeah.
You have to get it out at the 3-point line, back in. So it's really fast, really dynamic, really physical as well compared to 5v5. A lot more like boof, boof, boof. A lot more people falling out.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that like 2 wheelchairs hitting each other seems like quite an annoying thing all the time. Like, seemed quite physical, it would be sore. Like, I can imagine. Yeah, my temperament wouldn't be good for that, I don't think.
Yeah, but you just give it right back. Do you know what I mean? You just give it right back.
It's competitive. That's the point.
I'd be like, oh
no.
You'd learn, wouldn't you? You'd be part of it. You'd be part of it. It seems like you've got quite a lot of heads on you at the moment as well, because obviously, like, I know you're obviously being the athlete, but you're the ambassador here. You're also an advocate for like equality and things. So what does that role? What does that take you? How do you do that? What kind of things you do?
What do I do? To be honest, I think the easiest thing is I'm just being myself.
Aye.
So I think that makes it easier. Like, I don't have to pretend. I don't have to think, oh gosh, what hat have I got on today? I'm just Robyn Love today. That's and that's how I try and be. I just try and be myself, and within that I get opportunities to speak to you guys and go to these events and manage to fit training around that. The most important thing. But ultimately, I'm here to showcase our sport, to get more people interested in wheelchair basketball, whether it's 3x3, 5-on-5, to promote the games in Scotland. And it's a pretty easy job, because Scotland's great, wheelchair basketball's great.
Yes.
And along the way, we do get to talk about serious issues, LGBT, etc. Pride House actually got in contact with me the other day. So if you don't know, at every major games there's a Pride House, so it's a safe space for LGBT players, staff, volunteers, anyone, fans, to go and learn, and also it's just a safe space. It's really cool actually. I went back when the Commonwealth Games were last in Glasgow, and they hold events, they do talks, and it's just a really interesting place to go and realise that sport is such a great platform for social change, whether that is to raise awareness about disability. How many times do you, or at least I hear it quite a lot, obviously, because I'm with Laurie, she uses a daycare, and there's a kid and it's like, oh, why is she in that? Why is she, what's that, mummy, what's that? Shh, shh. And it's like, actually, come and watch wheelchair basketball and watch these awesome people smashing into each other and being physical and aggressive and, being athletes, and then being like, wow, mummy, look at that, isn't that really cool? And it's like, what a great platform to educate people about disability.
Absolutely.
That's what I think sport, and especially parasport, is great for. So
and that's it, it's because it's encouraging to be treated as an individual instead of as this like disability, kid gloves, treating different, like obviously if there's differences that need to be different, that's, I can't get more, but like there's times where something might need to be different, but there's also times where it doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's being aware of that and kind of just like treating people as individuals, and then seeing it and going, that's amazing, that's so cool.
And you're doing obviously the coaching aspect, and is this something you feel like you'll continue past your years of actual competing? Do you feel like you want to continue on?
Oh, I love coaching. I love it. I mean, I wanted to be a PE teacher, right?
Yeah.
Going back to that. So, I just love sharing my passion for sport and seeing someone at the start of a session to the end and going, you've improved. Or, I can just see that moment, like when I've given someone a tip or something and the light goes in their eye and they're like, oh, that's right, that's easier now, I could do that now. And I just love moments like that. Especially with
who
women.
are you coaching though? Like, what's the age groups? Like, how's it working?
So wheelchair basketball in general, there isn't really age groups because there's not as many people.
Of course.
So I do coaching at my club, Manchester Revolution, but I do have my own kind of coaching company or whatever. It's just Love Wheelchair Basketball. And for the past year, I've delivered women's sessions, so coaching women, because wheelchair basketball at national level is mixed, men and women together. So it just means that although women do compete and they train, there's not really many environments where they can do it with and against other women. So I'm trying to create that safe space for learning away from guys who are bigger. You know, you can have a 14-year-old lassie competing against a Paralympic male in the same team. They're in the same team, they play with each other, play against each other. So I'm trying to create an environment where those girls have their own space where they can be the best, they can be the biggest, they can be the strongest. And very much like we talked about at the start, that failing, you know, failing is fun, make mistakes, great job. You know, just trying to create those environments for women. I also I've coached the Irish women's national team, done a couple of camps with them, the GB on the 25 team. You know, I've done ad hoc coaching here, there and everywhere.
Really. You are really busy.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, we do this on the side sometimes for a job, but man, that's crazy. You're so busy. But I mean, obviously, like it all leads back to when we first started the conversation. You said about where your love for kind of sport started in school, and you had an idea of doing a job, and you kind of are doing it just at a kind of different level, I guess.
A bit more niche, a bit more direct.
Yeah.
And have you got any advice for any aspiring Olympians, Paralympians, women in sport? Like, what would your advice be for them?
I think in general it would be to have an identity outside of sport. You know, you are more than putting a ball in a hole or, you know, diving into a pool or whatever. You know, that can leave at any moment. So it's really important that you have something else that defines who you are. And I honestly think that then feeds into your confidence within the sport that you do. Certainly the case for me, you know, I've been burnt out in the past and hated it. And I took a wee break and fell in love again just because I realised I had to find me and my value and my confidence. And I really think that makes a huge, huge difference. Whatever walk of life you are, your job isn't everything.
Yes.
Of that.
100%. And I think sometimes people have that in their heads that they feel like, I have to have this or what am I? But actually, yeah, that's great to have that. And it's amazing. Like, you obviously want to have a career that you love and that you're passionate about, but you also want to have the life outside it. And that's where, like, quite a lot of our conversations with young people in school, like, I'll ask them about, what are you wanting from your life? And they'll almost look at you like, oh, what do you mean? Sort of thing. And it's really nice then you get the really lovely conversations where people are talking about what family they want, like what house they want, where do they want to live, like do they want to have time for their hobbies, do they want to have time for, you know, doing traveling, like all sorts of things. I think it's actually really nice sometimes, as much as we're careers advisors and we're about careers, it's nice to take a step back from that a little bit too.
It's about balance, isn't it, at the end of the day? But what's the next goal for you then? Because obviously, like, if you are as competitive as I've picked up here, then you might also be competitive just in kind of the next stage for you, what you want to achieve. What's the next big thing for you, do you think? Is it, obviously you've got the Commonwealth Games coming up and obviously hopefully success there, but is it trying to get to the next one? Like, what's the goal? Yeah,
so we've also got with GB, we've got the World Championships this September in Canada. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I mean, Commonwealth Games are at the forefront of my mind, and then obviously Canada. So, you know, I hope it's a really successful year. But more than that, I'm also moving house. So I'm hoping that I find the bungalow of my dreams.
Yes.
So I know, as if it's not hard enough doing a Commonwealth Games, World Championship. Do you know what we should do, Loz? Do you know what we should do? Let's just sell our flat and move. Yeah. The second most stressful thing you can ever do in your life. Yeah, let's do that.
Are you going to stay close to where you are already? Are you going to stay close by?
Yeah, we are. So we're looking to move actually closer to Laurie's mum. Get closer to that village that we've got, and just try and settle a wee bit closer there just to make it easier. And the dog, of course, because she's probably more needy than Alba is.
See, I love how you say the dog. You know, when like we first kind of see kids for the first time in school, and you'll say, "Who's all at home?" And honestly, all the pet kids tell me their dog's name or their cat's name, and I'm like,
and show you a picture as
I'm not a pet person, so like I always go, of course they're part of your family, but like I'm like,
see, now your pupils are going to be watching this going, so when he looked at that picture of my dog, he was lying.
Do you get shown?
I always get shown pictures of people's dogs. I'm like, what's your dog and what kind? And then they're like, do you want to see a picture? I'm like, Yes.
Yeah, they're like children.
So good. Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So obviously you've been to all these different camps and all these different like trips and things. What have you got any funny stories?
Funny stories that are appropriate?
Yes.
I know, this is the hard part, isn't it? Like,
yeah. To be honest, last Commonwealth Games, do you know what's quite cool is usually we don't get to share spaces with other teams. Buses usually with GB, because there's 20 of us, staff and athletes. We have our own bus. We go. GB goes on their bus to the venues, etc. But with 3x3, they were like communal buses. So we got to meet a lot of different teams, and we met some of the different African teams, and they were teaching, like one of my teammates, Jess, they were teaching her different words and teaching her all these bits and bobs, and it was just like really interesting to have that connection with athletes that we wouldn't usually, because with wheelchair basketball, especially in the women's, it's there's not many African nations that compete, so you don't have these opportunities. So what I love, I'm from Ayr, where I went to Magaluf on holiday, and that was literally, and then all of a sudden I'm in wheelchair basketball, and I've been to Japan 8 times, I've been to Canada, I've been to America, I've been all over the world, and I get to meet these really, really cool people to share their culture, and that was one of the coolest things, actually, just seeing that connection between different nations and building those relationships. I think is really cool. And then last year we got to go with, again, it was Scotland, but it was under GB. We got to go to South Africa and compete. And we got to go on a safari, which was absolutely again,
so cool.
For me, do you know what I mean? I've been to Blair Drummond Safari Park. That's what I was that's like the highlight of my life. And then all of a sudden I'm in South Africa, I get to go on a proper, like, it was just incredible. Like, you can't, like, I just have to pinch myself most of the time, do you know what I mean? With the opportunities that I get, especially nowadays. Back in the day, like I said, I've been to Japan like 8 times. Have I seen any of it? No. But luckily the culture of sport now is, it's more than medals, it's what else. It's, when you're there, let's spend a few days and explore. So I'm really, really grateful in that. Those really cool experiences.
And it's so good though, because even earlier you mentioned you still had challenges that you talked about. You've still had challenges, and that ultimately it's when you overcome those challenges, and then you get to live obviously a very interesting and well-travelled life, but there is still, like every job, there is still that time where you might be sitting there going, is this for me? Even you with the basketball, like, I don't know at times. So but I think if anybody is interested in any form of like professional sport, I think what they've got from you is definitely passion as well, and the love for it, but also that coming, and you mentioned obviously the coaching aspect, you're still doing more things to make sure that you have a life away from the professional aspect of maybe competing within the sport that you love and within the area that you love, which I think is really encouraging for anybody listening, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I think, I'm lucky I get to do lots of talks to companies. I've spoken at Waitrose and other supermarkets are available. But, I have spoken JP Morgan Chase, like I've spoken to a lot of different teams, and whenever I speak to them, you realise, God, my life is cool. Like, it is amazing, because when you're doing the day-to-day humdrum of wake up, training, eating some more, training, eating some more. I like to eat a lot of food. It can be a bit like, oh God, you're in this bubble. And then as soon as you kind of go out of it, you realise, it gives you more energy to actually do it. Totally. So, and I think that's so important, no matter what you do. Outside of your job, make sure that it just gives you energy, because sometimes I think, am I tired, or have I just not done anything that gives me energy today? I think that's sometimes the case.
It's like 90% of my life, to be fair.
Have I just been like,
exactly, dopamine. So lastly, because we ask everybody this, if you were to kind of pick out a kind of key skill, or maybe a couple of skills that you feel has been just so useful for you throughout your journey into where you are now, what would you say those were? Because I think that's those can be, kids might have them already and don't realise it kind of translates.
I think for me, I've talked about it in our chats already, is being able to make mistakes and laugh.
Yes.
In school I was kind of the class clown a wee bit, making people laugh, but I don't care about looking silly. And I think if someone has that skill, they are going to learn so much faster than someone who is just so afraid to make a mistake. Like I've made thousands of mistakes. I can't really remember
Yeah.
I can't really remember. But the reason I was able to go from nothing to in Rio 2016, after, you know, a year and a half of playing wheelchair basketball, I was starting in the game against Canada. Amazing. At the Paralympic Games in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? And the only reason I got there was because I was willing to fall and fall and fall. And yeah, I'd get annoyed, I'd swear and F and Jeff and whatnot, and but I'd laugh. I'd laugh and I'd be like, oh, I looked like an absolute idiot there. Did you see that? Like, and I'm not. I don't mean I've got 4 sisters that play. Why I don't embarrass you, but I honestly think that is a real skill. To just brush something off, because it's not easy.
No. Yeah. From us, now obviously I caught you in socials because we went snooping, but like, you know, what are your socials? I think obviously you're having an impact there. You're starting to kind of create more kind of content for people to be more aware of the what you do. So what are your socials?
Gosh, I feel I should know this off by heart. So I think my socials are Robyn_Love13, I think. Cool. TikTok, Instagram. They're the main 2, really. I don't do much.
I think I just googled Robyn Love Paralympian and I got it. So like, just in case we don't know the exact that's a good way to get it for sure.
Yeah, search Robyn Love. There's not many of us.
Well, thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.